All right. Welcome to the Wild Farm Family Fun Show. We talk everything farm, food, family, and most importantly, we have tons of fun on this show. If you've had a chance to join any of the previous episodes, I can't believe this is episode 13, which is crazy to say, but we brought in people from all walks of life, including farmers. We brought in fair trade. We brought in musicians, chefs, health coaches, you name it. And so it has been an excellent experience. We will continue to do so. We have some exciting guests lined up for you today or coming up soon here. Again, I am Troy from FarmBridge. I co-hosting with Nick Knutson from Wild Joy. And we do have to share a little bit unfortunate news, which is if you're expecting to see Joel today, we have some technical difficulties trying to get Joel on video camera here. And so because of that, we are rescheduling the show with Joel, which will end up being a Zoom call that you can register for in the future. And so more to come on that. If you're following live with us today, we also chat that into the video box. But because we're here and we love doing this, we love providing value for you guys and having these conversations. We're going to go ahead and dive in. And Nick's got some exciting stuff today. Always in the kitchen, but at least exciting stuff going on in what he's doing and diving in a little bit more about food and meaning to you. And so we're going to let Nick take away with the show today. So Nick, what is going on, man?
Good afternoon, Troy, and thank you so much, brother. It's wonderful to be here. It's a beautiful Tuesday and another episode number 13 here with the Wild Family Farm and Fun Show. And I have to start just by I know that many people might have been expecting Joel to be on, and I know I obviously cannot fill those big shoes, so we apologize on behalf of technology, really. But we do look forward to having Joel with us here in the very near future. So please do stay tuned for updates and information around that. And we're going to, life, that this is what happens in life sometimes, and we need to pivot and we need to keep moving. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to help drive this a little bit more today than usual. So, Troy, you sent it this week on a snowboard today. Tell me about how you're feeling. There's a great video, everyone out there, of Troy sending it for the world to see. Up in the great state of Michigan, playing with his boys in the front yard or backyard. And no, brother, that was a great video. And how are you today?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, that was, I love playing with the kids any way I can. And I tried to jump on one of their little tiny plastic training snowboards down a hill that one of the snowplows created, and definitely wiped out and flipped the board like in a 360. Was feeling it the next day a little bit, man. But I shared that video because it was all good fun. A lot of people loved it. It just, reminds you of being a kid, no matter how old you are. And I wouldn't take it back. I love doing that stuff. You'll probably catch me doing some crazy stuff like that in the future, especially in the summertime.
And I love, Troy, I love seeing, that you share, glimpses of your family and all the fun that you guys, I'm sure it's, obviously, like, it's not probably always fun, but, I saw a little bit of an impromptu dance party happening. You guys are outside playing. So before we dive into, a little bit more of being the kitchen, I just want to, I know family and fun is a big component of this show. And I'd like to just start, with this question is like, why is play and why is fun so critical to bring into your family? Like, what about it are your kids learning, experiencing? What are you learning? What are you experiencing through play and fun in your family?
Yeah. For me personally, I think we're all kids at heart our entire lives. And I don't think we ever get rid of that. I think sometimes we just choose to do other things, or we choose to shelter it in, maybe because we don't want to put the feeling out there of what we look like, or maybe because we don't know what we're doing anymore as a kid. But I lead my life every day with trying to still be that person, and I want to be that person for my kids, and I want my kids to grow up and do the same thing when they have a family, right? When they become a dad or a mom. And so I'm out there truly just trying to get them to just laugh as much as they can, enjoy sports and activities as much as they can, maybe get out there and create the atmosphere. I mean, sometimes kids can come up with their own ideas, and sometimes they need a little bit of push. And so you often see me, and some of the neighbors comment on this a lot, but you often see me out there with the entire neighborhood of kids pitching baseballs, right? Or kicking soccer or playing basketball, riding scooters down the road. Like, that's me. And it's because not only am I a big kid, but I like to congregate those kids together because that creates lasting memories, not only for myself, but for them. And then they look forward to it. I mean, I look forward to the days where I get up and they keep asking me, like, Dad, when are you going to do this? Dad, can you come out and do that? And so I know that at some point those days are going to be fleeting, right? When they get older and Dad becomes more of a not as cool of a friend to hang out with, and we all go through this journey. But at least I can be that person for them today. And so it creates a lot of joy in my life. It's something I care about outside of business, outside of passion projects, outside of time with my wife. It makes me smile when I think about those type of things.
It makes me smile too, Troy, and it's bringing back so many memories of, a small town that I grew up in, and like those neighborhood get-togethers, whether it be like hide and go seek once we got a little bit, night games as we called it, when we got a little bit older, but like, sandlot, baseball games, wiffle ball, like king of the mountain of like on big giant snow hills, just ripping kids off the mountaintop. I mean, it's I just love that you're actively involved in helping shape and mold and be a fun, inspiring and playful leader for your neighborhood, your community. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So what was it like for you to actually like grow up? Like, did you have this type of experience for yourself?
Yeah, I did. My parents are awesome, man. It's funny you led me into the story I was going to share, but I remember my dad sharing one thing in particular, which was he works in the furniture industry. So he's a manager broker for Steelcase, and he had a boss that just loved to drive work, loved to have him work and everything. And my dad always, and both parents, but in this case of the story, my dad really wanted to be at every single sporting event, like every single basketball, football, baseball game that I did when I was in school. And that always came first. So my parents always put their kids first. And I think that's instilled on me too. But I remember the story where his boss literally like said, well, where are you going? Like, I need this work done tonight. I need this project done. I need these leads or whatever to be done. And he's like, I'm sorry, but I gotta go to a basketball game. I'm gonna watch my son play. And so I'll get to this tonight if you absolutely need it, or I don't know what you need to get done, but if family always comes first to me, and it always will. And so that stuck with me, right? Because there's a lot of things in life, whether work drives it or we're passionate about a project or anything. Like, I like to think of it as the things that you look back on the most and reflect on as far as how you lived your life. And am I going to look back and say, I wish I had completed that business project, or I wish that I had written that email, or whatever it is? Probably not. Most of it I might even forget about unless it was a lasting memory. But I'll always remember the moments of being there with my kids, watching them play, being there, playing with them. Like, that's the stuff that I know that I'll care about. And so I think it started with my parents, and I've continued to adapt and maybe even expanded on it of just being there as much as I can. I've even, every job before Farmbridge, when I would work in the office, I always said that up front. And said, hey, if I'm coaching my son's soccer game or practice or whatever, like, I'm out of the office at 3 or whatever. And if there's something needs to get done, it'll get done tonight or tomorrow. And set that expectation up front. So
yeah, that's thank you for that beautiful story about that and that like lifelong lesson and example that your dad taught you and that you are instilling into your kids' lives as well and for yourself. So before, like, let's say someone here who's listening in, Troy, maybe they're, obviously, like I'm present to some. I've been on a few calls this week so far, and we're kind of in the winter of winters, meaning like we're right in the heart of winter, and yet we're still in this like kind of winter of COVID. And I know fun and play is a kind of a hard thing to kind of really tap into right now. So if you were to say, hey, like if someone was wanting to, inject a little fun into and play into their life during this time, like what would be a couple things that you could offer up for some of our listeners?
Do something outlandish. And what I mean by that is like the only thing you really need in life is to shake it up. So if you're a family that's not like always creating these fun atmospheres or going on trips or whatever, or maybe you have a creative family, like we're fortunate to, Kellen's really creative. We love creating things here. We share it too on social. But if that's not you, just find something that you would not normally do and do it. Because as soon as you change your mindset and your environment for just a second is when you let things open up, and then you'll never know what the outcome will end up being. And I swear, like anytime that's ever happened for our family, where like we felt stuck within COVID or winter or anything like that, like just put like, so we'll put like dance videos on the TV and we'll just let it rip. Like we have costumes from Halloween. We'll throw on costumes. Even I will throw on a costume. And we'll just dance, right? Or we'll go out in the snow and do something like, I think the other day we even shared it, but like Kellen and I took our hoverboards outside, and although like it was hard to do in the snow, like we tried to make our hoverboards work or our scooters. We went to the park and went down the slides in the snow, like things that you would normally be like, it's cold out. It's not usually conducive for this type of play or whatever. Like just do something crazy, like just be crazy, because life is too short not to just let it loose, man. So I think that if there's anything that tangible that I could offer, it would be whatever your first thought comes to mind, as crazy as it is, do it, and then just run with it and let it happen.
That's beautiful. I got to think about having a little dance party for myself. Maybe I'll dress up a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, the kids love it. They like dressing up anyways, right? Or at costume playing. They don't expect dad to do it. So, you throw on a costume and, the other day, Nick, the kids were outside building like little mini ski hills in the front yard. And I told Tiff, I didn't end up getting to do it. I think I held baby or whatever. But I said, I'm gonna strip down to just basketball shorts and go run out there and dive into one of their piles with no clothes on except for basketball shorts. Just the sheer fact of like something crazy happening, and it just shifts everybody's mindset for just a second. So yeah, just things like that.
Well, that's really beautiful. And I can only imagine, 20, 30 years down the line, like those types of memories, those types of experiences. Like, I think your kids are going to remember, oh, Dad, you remember when you ran out, like in 20, whenever that one winter in your basketball short, like those are that's like some magic, I think, as I would refer to it, that you are helping create within your family. And I think that's absolutely amazing, and so much respect and appreciation for the type of father you are. So,
kids remember the silliest things, Nick. Like there was a time when I think Kellen was like 3.5 or 4, and Trevin was 1, and we were at Disney, and we ordered. You can get like an Amazon Prime box, so we had like some bottles of water, Staples sent to our room so we could have it there, right? And at nighttime, we were just goofing around by the hotel room, and I sat in the box that all the goods came in, and the box collapsed on me, and I fell flat on my back like randomly, and I just started cracking up. And before you know it, like a year later, we're just sitting in the living room, and here's Kellen. Hey, Dad, remember that one time when we were in Disney and you sat in that box, and then it just like collapsed on top of you? I was like, I swear, like the things that the kids will remember and regurgitate to you are just amazing.
Well, anytime you sit on a box, every time I sit on a box from now on, I'm gonna imagine you in Disney World collapsing down on. Well, that's beautiful, brother. Well, thank you for diving in. Is there anything else you would like to share, with family fun today? I know we're adjusting as we go, but is there anything else that is present with you that you'd like to share before we kind of crack it into the kitchen a little bit?
No, I appreciate you letting me open it up, buddy. And I think maybe more and more listeners will get a chance to dive into some of our stories together. Nick and I did do some planning the other day, so we have some exciting topics and themes that we're going to come through the show. So if you're looking to understand what the show is going to a little bit be more about and what you can expect, we're going to dive into topical areas and series of events and guests. And so just wanted to allude to that since we're kind of going on the fly with this show. And I think we'll kick it over to Nick to take it from here on the show, and then more to come on the guests and the areas that we're going to cover for you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Troy, and thank you so much again for just opening up and sharing a little bit more about the about the experience at the Troy Rice household and all those beautiful stories and memories you're creating, and that's just amazing. And to your point too, as some of the listeners might be listening in right now or further down at another time in this, if you're hearing this now, like if there's a topic like within the food world, within the cooking world that you are interested to learn more about, please let us know, because we want to serve you. And so, obviously Troy and I we can think of things, but we really want to always come back to how can we serve the greater good? How can we serve people as far as where their food is coming from, how to prepare that food and how it impacts your family. So please let us know if there's something out there that we can help you learn and grow, and we can do this together. So please know that line of communication is open. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your ideas, because we want to serve you. So
brilliant.
All right. So, So I was gonna do a chicken recipe here, and we're still gonna go through with that. So we're gonna walk through what I have coined and called the Amazing 48 Bowl. Why it's called the Amazing 48 Bowl, I don't know. It's just what came to me one day. It's essentially this is a very standard type of dish that I create on a regular basis. I'll preface this or frame this. I'm big into the CrossFit, and I'm also a CrossFit coach and things like that. But I cook like I CrossFit. So meaning when you enter a CrossFit gym, you see a workout on the board. Let's say there's also a recipe available. I always like to think about what are some of the substitutions? What are some of the alternatives that I can do, as far as maybe it's the substituting ingredients, substituting food item? Is there a different way to prepare a different type of the protein or vegetable? But in the end, we all kind of come together and implement the recipe, substituting or adjusting some things along the way. So I say all this because happily am going to share this recipe, but there are lots of things that we could do differently as far as substituting any piece of this recipe. So I like to offer up things as far as like, what I could do with this differently to make this bowl or this dish look a little bit different. So, but essentially what we're going to be doing is it's going to be a base of yellow rice, caramelized onions, cream spinach, and topped with, roasted boneless chicken thighs. So I'm going to walk us through the preparation of the cream spinach and kind of get the chicken piece of it, and then we're going to bring it all together. So that's what we're going to be doing. So
yeah, to call out to what you just said, Nick, I think what's a really neat concept that you mentioned is, I think most people, they get a recipe and they follow it to the T, right? Because if they stray away from it, it doesn't turn out the way it should, and it might not. But what you're really saying is take a recipe and mold it to your family, right? Mold it to your liking. And so don't just take like an ingredient that's in there for face value, like put something in there that you would like. And then that allows you to open up your opportunity to more and more recipes, because you're not just looking at it as what it should be, but you're looking at it as what it could be.
Absolutely. Yes. And I don't have, there's no judgment as far as like anybody who likes to follow recipes to the T. Yet I also know that there is this expectation that if it doesn't look like the picture in the magazine that I got this from, or the website that I got it from, that it's a failure. Mm-hmm. And it really doesn't matter. Like if you burn the toast, the intent is that you're actually like, if we're downstream here, or upstream a little bit, like the intention of actually just doing the practice or stepping into the kitchen and wanting to bring that intention of cooking, conversation, and connection into your family. And if you ruin the dish, you can always order like whatever. You can order pizza if it all fails. But the idea and the intent is always there.
Yes.
So, all right. But great point. So let's start here. So I want to start with the chicken thighs. I got to go into my fridge to grab those. So first things first here. So whenever you're dealing with, we're going to be dealing with some raw protein, raw meat. So I want to make sure that I'm washing my hands. Always making sure that sanitation and keeping food safety at top of mind. So when I roast, boneless, skinless, or any type of chicken, or really anything in the oven, I always put down a piece of parchment paper. It really helps with kitchen cleanup. So if you're the chef and you're not cleaning, this is a really helpful. It's a godsend for the person that might have to clean up your dishes at the end, because it doesn't burn onto the pan. So a little bit of thank you to the person that's going to clean your dishes. So with the chicken thighs, I'm just going to put them down on the sheet tray. Again, wash hands every time. Every time I touch my fingers with raw meat, I want to make sure that I am washing my hands. So the first thing we're going to do here is season this chicken up. So I'm going to start with a little salt and pepper. And then I'm going to top it with a little bit of extra seasoning with some garlic powder. And then I'm gonna, so I had a little bit of, I like to add a little bit of balsamic and oil to it, but I have a little balsamic vinaigrette. So I'm just gonna do a little balsamic vinaigrette to kind of roast along with the chicken thighs. So once these are seasoned and dressed up, I'm going to throw these in the oven at about 400 degrees, and it's going to be about 12 minutes, but we're going to always want to cook chicken to the internal temperature of 165 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and slap that in the oven. And just for the people following along, I went ahead and I pre-made some of the yellow rice that I'm going to use as my base, and then I've also done the caramelized onions. So while the chicken is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to walk us through the cream spinach. So I took a package of frozen spinach and thawed it out, and then I sort of squeeze out the bag to release a lot of that liquid. So, it's still a little damp, but it's not like just soupy. So I really want to remove that excess liquid. I'm going to be going for the dairy-free route here today. You can make this with heavy cream and butter, which is phenomenal. But for today, we're going to go a dairy-free option. So as far as what I'm going to saute the spinach in is I'm going to use ghee, which is essentially butter, clarified butter. So when you clarify butter, you remove the milk solids, and that's essentially what makes the product ghee.
Nice.
I'm also going to use some kind of dairy alternative milk. I have really fell in love with full-fat oat milk. I don't know if that's something in your household that you guys have tried, but it's relatively, in the last few years, it's all over the place in coffee shops now. That's when I first heard about it. I just love the consistency of it, and it's a very neutral taste. Sometimes when I use coconut milk, obviously that I always still taste that coconut. Not that it's a bad taste, but when I'm looking for a more balance, I don't always like that coconut taste when I'm looking for good balance with my flavor. So sticking with the oat milk, we need a little minced garlic, and to top it all off at the end, we're going to add a little hot sauce to it. So
yes.
So I have my skillet going. I'm going to start with putting down my garlic and just sauteing the garlic up for about 10 to 15 seconds before I start with throwing the spinach down. And if there's anything that calls dinner time in the household, it's when you saute garlic. And it's like, whoa, like, what is that smell? I want it.
I love it.
It's like an automatic calling card for like satiation and like bringing people to the dinner table, because people are like, what is that smell? Like, wow, like that's so good. So anyway, garlic is, if you want to get your kids to eat with you, just start with a little garlic is what I'm thinking.
I was you mentioned hot sauce in the middle there, and I'm a huge advocate for hot sauce on my food. Maybe even a little extreme. Like Tiff will constantly remind me that I need to try my food before I douse it in hot sauce. So I just in there I made a little comment because I love hot sauce on literally anything. Maybe not some of my breakfast food, but.
What kind of hot sauce do you like, Troy? Like, are we talking like habanero, like that level?
Louisiana hot sauce is my favorite.
Okay.
If we're talking about brand. But yeah, I like hot. I don't like too hot where it ruins my taste buds, so I can't actually taste the flavor of the food. But I did have a roommate in college that just loved, like he put ghost peppers and habaneros on everything, and I was like, man, his taste bud receptors must just be accustomed to that, because mine definitely are not.
Yeah, that is some really. I'm with you where it's I can take some heat, but I don't like heat. I don't want heat to like completely dominate the experience of the meal. And I've had some really hot food. I've been to India, I've been to Thailand, and God, do they make their food hot sometimes. Mm-hmm. I think the hottest meal I've ever had was in India on a dare.
And I mean, maybe you have some insights to share on this. I know you do a lot of in-depth research and reading on food and stuff, but even it's really good for you, right? From what I understand, like peppers are very good for your digestive enzymes. Is that true? Or
that is very true. Yes, and why not? So I make I have a little bit of apple cider, fire cider, that like a homemade fire cider that I make, and I take this as a supplement pretty much every day, right around like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Hey,
I like to take it out of a little bit of a shot glass.
It's kind of reminds me of like our family does apple cider vinegar shots every once in a while.
Yeah, so this is so this stuff that I make, oh my God, it is very hot. But it's marinated for a month with habaneros, onions, horseradish, oranges. I think I threw grapefruit in here, a little lemongrass, horseradish as well. But this stuff is, especially for the winter months. If we think about even from a Ayurvedic standpoint, right? So if I'm cold all the time, I also want to, like in the winter times, I want to kind of increase some of the things I ingest with a lot more spice and heat, because I want to be able to balance that out.
I love that. That's great insight. Yeah.
But yes, it is very good for digestion. And I like I said, I like to do this at 5 o'clock every day, like just because I can, and I put in a little shot glass. But anyway, you got to have fun with life. Got to have fun in the kitchen. All right. So I've got the spinach sauteed. It's already cooked, so it's not really much I need to do. I just want to get it hot. So now that I see some steam coming off, the garlic is sauteed, I'm going to go ahead and add my my oat milk here. I'm going to maybe need a little bit more. I think I started with a 1/4 cup, but I'm going to add a little bit more because it evaporated very quickly. So we're going to let that saute for a little bit here. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper here. I just want it to simmer for about 3 to 4 minutes, just to kind of help infuse a little bit of that garlic into the spinach. Let some of the liquid burn off, so it kind of really gives that creamy texture. And then as I'm kind of waiting, what I would do, so obviously I can, if this was all coming off the stove, one of the things I could do is obviously plate. I could reheat all of these things individually. I could also throw it into a big frying pan and bring it all up to temperature. I could cook all these things prior to actually mealtime. That's what I do at home, is I take at least one like 3 hours every week, and I just meal prep. I cut up a bunch of sweet potatoes, cook up rice, I prep my broccoli, make some slaw, and then I just keep it in the fridge. And when it's mealtime, I just pick things out. And this is where it kind of comes back to, I cook like I CrossFit, so I can adjust certain things. So I had broccoli last night. I'm going to do peppers and onions tonight, or peppers, onions, and mushrooms tonight is my vegetable.
Yeah. No, I love that.
And then like a couple different types of proteins, right? So maybe I roast up a sheet tray of chicken breasts, and then maybe that week I also smoked a bunch of pork, right? So I have, you know, two or three different options that I can use to sort of continue to build different varieties of bowls and meals every night of the week.
Yes.
So I'm going to start here with the bed of yellow rice. Then I'm going to go ahead, add my onions on top of that.
And since you're going through rice right now too, I know you we talked about this before the show about your thoughtful work, and not only just in the kitchen, but you know, connecting food and people and relationships and conversations. And so I just wanted to share, you know, Nick talked about some cool insight, and forgive me if I butchered the name here, but is it Thich Nhat Hanh?
Yeah, Thich Naht Hanh.
Thich Nhat Hanh shares a message that the entire universe can be found in a grain of rice, and you kind of put your own little reflection on that. Can you share that with people? Because I think, you know, food is a commonality amongst any conversation. And so dig into that, like share about that a little more.
Right. Okay. So thank you for that access point. So yeah, you imagine a little grain of rice, right? And if I think about the entire universe being contained, I think about, well, how did this grain of rice actually show up into my kitchen and about to be served to those that I love, right? This could be the onions, this could be the spinach, you know, but let's just take the grain of rice. So I think about, you know, the earth that helped make that grow, the rain, the sunshine, right? So these are elements of God and nature. Then I think about the farmer who harvested the rice. Then I think about the processing that helped make that rice available to be shipped. So then we have the whole shipping process. Then we have the people that help bring that rice, that dried rice, in the package to the grocery store. Then I'm thinking about the stock boy or girl who put that on the shelf. Then I think about the person, the clerk, the man or the boy or girl store clerk who sold me it. And then there's that whole, like, bringing this into my table, right? Bringing this into my kitchen. So there's that awareness of, like, wow, like, all of these steps made this possible. And that right there is, like, in this little grain of rice is an immense world that really helped make this and all of this, like, connection possible.
Yes.
And as far as, like, you know, if I think about it from, like, once I serve this meal with this rice, like, you can find an entire conversation can be had because of a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Entire relationships are built, business deals are built because of a single meal. And so, like, that little minuscule but powerful grain of rice is a lot more to it than I just put water on it and simmer it for about 15 minutes and then eat it. There's so much more that is going on than what is really happening.
Yeah. So, like, when I was, there was somebody retiring at the office when I worked at the corporate, and learning from him, I actually had to learn his processes, right? His reports or whatever. But what I remember most are his stories about cooking and food. So he's very avid in the kitchen. Him and his wife were very into different ethnicities of food. They traveled, they tried different things. He tried different things in the kitchen. And so that's what we talked mostly about, and I remember all of that. Like, that's what I love the most. And like, anytime I have a chance to connect with him, like, that's what I think about. Like, John, what are you guys doing these days with these types of food and recipes or anything cool in mind? So, maybe there's something to be said there about lasting memories too. Maybe you don't remember the shaking of hands on a business deal, but you remember the conversations you had around food or family in those moments.
Right. And thank you for that. And you're absolutely right. To me, like, behind every great meal or behind any meal is a story. And there's an experience. And so I'm just curious, Troy, like, would you please elaborate on like one of your greatest meals that you've ever had?
Yeah. So I probably always lean to my favorite food when it comes to these conversations, which, like, my favorite dish is like garlic chicken burgers with avocado spread with sprouts on top. That is my favorite food, man. And then like some sliced up sweet potatoes, either on the grill, like in the summertime on the grill. So like that's my favorite dish. And what it reminds me of is like the cooking out moments, right? Like the grilling out moments with your family, sitting on the back deck and enjoying that experience. And I'll share this little fun tidbit. I did my first podcast interview like a year and a half ago. It was the Imperfect podcast with Luke West, and he always intros with his guests, and he says, if you could pick the type of food and one person in the world that you could have it with, what would that be? What would that look like? And I shared the same food, same garlic chicken burgers and fries with a beer on the back deck. And I said with Mark Wahlberg. And the reason I said that is like, I just picture Mark Wahlberg, like one of my favorite movies is Shooter and a few other things that he's done. But I just picture Mark Wahlberg like being that guy that you can just like enjoy a nice burger on a back deck with and have an awesome time, And so I just wanted to share that because I remember Luke's expression was like, well, that's interesting and fun, man. I love that.
I'd love for that to happen for you someday, to have a backyard burger and a beer with Mark Wahlberg. I think that will be fun. I think he would be a fun person to have that experience with. 100%.
Yeah.
My favorite, I think one of my favorite Wahlberg's movies is The Other Guys. He's like, I'm a peacock. I'm a peacock.
Gotta let me fly.
Let me fly.
Oh, so how's our plate looking?
Yeah, let's check it out here. So, all right. So when I'm cooking chicken, like I said, I want to cook it to 165. Oh, we got a little bit over, but that's okay. Chicken thighs are a little bit more forgiving than chicken breasts, because there's a little bit more fat content in there, so it's not going to dry it out if you overcook it just a little bit. So FYI, I had it in there for maybe 10 to 12 minutes perhaps. So, but once that chicken is done, I'm going to transfer that onto my cutting board. I'm going to slice it up nice and fancy like. And then I'm going to take my cream spinach and I'm going to spoon some on to my bowl here. And if I didn't say anything, I did add hot sauce during the midst of all that.
Oh, sweet.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to we were talking about, having backyard Burgers and Brews with Mark Wahlberg. I got distracted. I was daydreaming about that. By the way, he's got a burger joint. Did you know that? Wahlberg or something like that?
Yeah, Wahlburgers, I think. Yeah. Yep.
So, all right. So then once I have the chicken, the onions, and the spinach down, I'm gonna throw my chicken on top. And so now you come to an interesting part in the meal. So what are you going to top it with? So, and this again kind of comes back to I cook like I CrossFit. So, like I said, I have a balsamic vinegar that I whipped up this week. This would be a great option. With the recipe that I'm going to post, we could do like a avocado gremolata. So you would mix parsley, lemon juice, garlic, and avocado, and that would be a wonderful, wonderful topping to go on top of that. And another option would be, I come from a French cooking background, so another thing that I might do here is actually throw a fried egg on top, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then I always keep my little, this is my put that S on everything, put that sauce on everything. This is a homemade yellow curry garlic lemon aioli. So I might do a combination of all of them just because I can. But anyway, so what would happen then, right before I'm about to serve this to my beautiful loved ones, give her a little sauce her up.
That's incredible.
Like I said, if you wanted to put an egg on there, avocado gremolata, even some chopped pistachios. So like this is where it kind of gets fun. Like those accessories to the meal. Mm-hmm. I really like people to like at least try to educate. Like when I educate people, when I lead people into some of my cooking classes, what I really try to outfit them with is like, what are other possibilities? Like what would make this different? Yes. Or how could this dish improve? Like that's the question I'm always coming back to and was taught when I was learning how to cook is like, how do I continue to improve this? And even if it's in its like most improved state, then it becomes, well, how can I consistently do this really, really, really well?
Yes.
I don't know if there is a perfect meal out there.
Yeah.
It may taste like it and it may have the right feelings and everything. And I'm not going to disagree, but there is no such thing as perfection anyway. But the drive for excellence, the drive for consistency here, and just to give people educate people on what is available once the dish is complete is really the fun part.
Yeah, and fun in the kitchen, right? I mean, even if chef or professional cook or anything is not your profession per se, that provides fun, right? Finding those little improvement and those different adaptations that you can do onto your dish. I could see that just bringing fun into the kitchen, and that's what it should be.
Yeah, maybe you want to get your kid to, add something that they wanted to put on there or something, or maybe it's a little pico de gallo or something that you can like I said, the fun of cooking, the possibilities are endless, and really like, I don't know, these are very basic things to sort of put together, but then it's fun when you get to accessorize and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't ask Trevin because if any topping or anything's going on in this food, it's can I add a bagel? Oh, I don't know. The kid just loves bagels, so I just thought that was funny.
Maybe a little bagel crisps.
There you go. That's a way to iterate, right? A little bagel shavings. You could chop it up into little breadcrumbs and put it on top.
Or like everything bagel seasoning or something. Maybe we could try that.
There you go. Already got the seasoning. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, man. That dish looks amazing as always. Leading into dinner time now. So if anybody is watching this live or watching a little bit, catching up to the live, they're probably mouthwatering, getting into their dinner times right now, which is excellent. So.
But yeah, so I will post this recipe in in for the show notes. And just like, if it's okay, Troy, I'd love to just make a small little plug. So, about what I have going on. So I offer, a bi-weekly, like community cooking class, essentially. It's called the Cast Iron Cooking Club. So every 2 weeks we get together, we spend time in the kitchen. Yes, we learn how to cook. Yes, we improve on those skills in the kitchen, but really at the heart, and what I have discovered, is that food is the access point to greater conversations, deeper connections, and just more intimacy. And so I always start these webinars with an access point to how we can deepen our conversations, how we can deepen our relationships, how do we create this experience of a meal just to have a conversation about your son or daughter who may or may not just have been accepted to college or not accepted to college. So to kind of create these experiences, to create this type of environment, to have those conversations, to deepen those relationships, that's really at the heart. So it's a community first and a product second.
Beautiful. And so I shared your website again for everybody to access. Now, can they sign up for that through your website? If they just
they can book a call to connect with me, and I would absolutely love to connect with anybody out there who just wants to, deepen their relationships and find how food and cooking can really do that for them.
Yeah, and if they're first listening for the first time on this episode, I would encourage you to listen to the intro episode, because Nick really shared about how that changed his life. And so I only mentioned that because you're getting that experience from Nick when you called to go dive deep into these conversations. And so check out the Cast Iron Cooking Club. And I know you just mentioned that it's a webinar, so that sounds like anybody in the world could actually access this point with you and have these conversations, if I'm correct.
Yes. Anybody, cool. Anybody that signs up in anywhere in the world can join me, and it depends on where I'm at in the world too. I like to travel, so
sweet, awesome. Well, and too, like, I know we mentioned this, but we'll do more of Nick and I in our stories, and so we'll do more of this with Nick in the kitchen and diving in deep and sharing some quotes or thoughts from some really good food leaders out there, or agricultural leaders that share some really interesting concepts that you can have conversations in your own family about food around. And so we'll continue to do these things. We'll share our upcoming strategy and guests, which we have coming up soon. I will mention that we have the founder of Daddy Daycare, which is a company that he started, and he focuses on fatherhood. He also wrote a book. Justin Blatt will be coming up soon. We have a beef farmer, Jamie Goebel, a beef farmer, coming up actually on Thursday. We have 2 shows this week. We have Taste of the Homeless, which is an organization in Chicago where they basically they make and grill food right on the street for homeless people, and it's an amazing experience. So those are coming up soon, but we have more to come on a whole bunch of different categories and themes. So stay tuned for that. So again, thank you so much for watching the show tonight. If you're watching live, excellent. If you're going to watch this later, or since we are now streaming on podcasts, so on all platforms, Google, Apple, Stitcher, almost any platform that you can think of, we're streaming on. If we're not on it, we're getting close to. And so more to come on that. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for adapting. We're intending to bring on Joel Saladin, who is a iconic regenerative farmer in Virginia. And so we are still going to do that, but we need to figure out some technical solutions, which we ran into problems tonight. So we will bring that back onto speed, whether that's live or it's recorded. We will still promise that to you and that conversation with Joel. So thanks again for watching tonight. And thank you for all your support. Thank you, Nick. You're awesome as always.
Thank you, Troy.
And we will share the recipe in the links as well. So we will see you Thursday at 2, I believe, is a different time. We're adapting to our guests a little bit. But if you want to learn about beef farming, and what does that look like, or what does that take from a family here in Michigan. Tune into that on Thursday. All right, we will see you next time.
See you, folks.